As a veteran educator, passionate historian, keen scholar, and astute cannisser, Santiago Albano Pilar, known as Jack, was a guiding light in Philippine art history. He shone that light for countless students that he taught during his decades at the University of the Philippines College of Fine Arts, fostering a lasting love and appreciation for the arts. He also enlightened Filipinos through his scholarly writing. As a researcher and author, he has turned the spotlight on many names and legacies from the Philippine art world that have remained in the shadows of history for far too long.
I worked with Jack Pilar for Estilo Tampinco, which is one of the books of Arte Filipino, the Arte Filipino series of Vibel Publishing. That book took a long time to be put together, and it was put together really beautifully, thanks to the writing of Jack Pilar and some other writers, brilliant writers. I actually met Jack Pilar personally after the book has been published, and this was because of certain art pieces that I wanted to learn more about.
Si Jack Pilar kasi ay isa na siyang pillar no sa art history. Ang distinct na memory ko kay Sir Jack ay yung kapag after ng class namin, no, may favorite spot siya na kainan doon sa may bowling area sa UP. At hinihintay niyo doon yung kanyang favorite food no na munggo. At yun yung naalala ko sa kanya na yung kung paano ka meticulous siyang kumain. Iba yung pagkasama mo si Sir Jack sa pananghalian. Yun yung naalala ko sa kanya no, na bukod dun sa alam natin na siya isang researcher at isang professor, yung kung gaano niya pinahalagahan yung mga simpleng pagkain. No?
I met Jack Pilar when he was a student in UP and I was just a new faculty member there. Jack was one of the few humanities major in UP. At that time, people were saying, ay, walang pera ang arts, so you go to another course. But Jack and his barkada persisted in continuing their art studies. He was one of the happy-go-lucky guy. And of course, at that time, you cannot predict what kind of future these guys will do. And now, Jack came out with that very first book on Juan Luna, which was amazing. It was, let's say, an exploration into a subject that has never been dealt before. So I thought that, you know, all these guys who took up humanities did make something for themselves and contributed to the future of progression of arts in the Philippines. He was my student with its other humanities majors. I was teaching art history. I looked forward to meeting them in the class because they were all, you know, vibrant, eager to learn, but at the same time ready to crack a joke. And you know, it makes everything so easy and pleasant when let's say instead of asking them to memorize dates and things like that, we had a very, very lively class sessions. And outside, of course, I don't know if you know UP, there is the famous basement where everyone went for coffee and snacks. And we would find ourselves in the same tables, laughing, joking. I really cannot erase the good memories of those days with knowing Jack and his barkada and all.
My memories of Professor Pilar, or Jack as most of us know him, go a long way back to our carefree student days in the 70s at the Old Humanities Department in the University of the Philippines College of Arts and Letters. We never imagined then that time and fate would take us through many more years of shared experiences as colleagues at the theory department of the UP College of Fine Arts and as co-collaborators for activities not only in the college but at the Metropolitan Museum of Manila. I missed out on many years while being away when Jack published his very big book on Juan Luna, and when he went on the Juan Luna lecture and exhibition circuit with his unparalleled scholarship. He excelled in his research, writing, and valuable knowledge of colonial and pre and post war Philippine art. He went on to write many more books, including his last publication, The Life and Art of Isabelo Tampinco, published by the Vibal Group. This time around, I was proud to be with him for the book launch, together with our fellow faculty members of our department of the College of Fine Arts.
I was fortunate to have been a student of Santiago Albano Pilar. In fact, I can actually say that his class in Philippine art changed my life. For on one bright day, almost 4 decades ago, Professor Pilar introduced me, along with my classmates, to the Great Lake of Bai. I have been in love with this body of water and its environs ever since. What made my first trip so memorable was that Professor Pilar introduced us to so many wondrous things. We made the acquaintance for the first time of the carved columns of Morong, the retablo of Baras, the Pieta of Tanay, the relieves of Mayhayan ng Carlan, the Chinese-style home economics building of Pagsanhan, as well as the plague crucifix of Pakil, and the oh so beautiful facade of Paete. What made all of these so memorable was the fact that upon noting the charm of one of the townspeople, Jack could comment in the midst of such splendor. He could joke in the midst of such splendor. Aba, talagang dapat lagi tayo nagbibisita ng mga regional exposition. But of course, what really made these the things we saw so memorable are the anecdotes and the explanations that Jack shared with us. Surely it is this playfulness that we can all recall. I am certain that some of you will be able to relate to a recent experience of mine.
Jack Pilar was born on the 15th of October 1946 in Bacara, Ilocos Norte. His father, Elias Pilar, served as a municipal judge, and his mother was Jesusa Albano. The young Pilar studied at the Vegan Minor Seminary before transferring to the Convento de San Agustin to continue his education. He earned his degree in art history from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. This was where he would embark on his academic career, serving as a lecturer in the field of humanities starting in 1977. Eventually, he transferred to the College of Fine Arts and taught courses in art history, art criticism, art research, and connoisseurship in both the undergraduate and graduate programs until his retirement in 2011.
He was very generous with his time and his knowledge. And for somebody whom you just met, he was really very engaging, very helpful, and you could feel that he's genuinely determined to make you understand what he's trying to explain to you. And he explains a lot. He's very meticulous in expressing his thoughts. He would pull out a book or a painting or a magazine article or a piece of sculpture just to in the middle of your conversation to drive to a point. And I like that. I like his attention to detail. I like it that he feels a need to expound and to support what it says with further documentation, and that's the mark of a true explorer. You can call him that, art historian.
I think yung most outstanding quality ni Sir Jack, yung attention sa detail. Naalala ko one time, during our class, ilan lang kami nun. Parang apat lang kami na estudyante niya sa history of painting. Yung mga slide na pinapakita niya, no? Dinidetalye niya yung mga nandun, yung mga kung ano man yung mga images na makikita namin. And alam niya lahat, no? And then he was at the moment, no? Talagang ayaw niya yung nagsasalita siya tapos may iba kang ginagawa. Dahil siguro, no, dahil pinaghirapan niyang alamin yung mga information na to, tapos sa walang bahala mo lang.
Jack was persistent. I don't think he easily gave up. So when he was pursuing art studies, he went, and after graduation, he went into, I think he also taught in UP. I know that he was active in digging up, quote, forgotten artists, unquote. So these are, I think it adds to the heritage that he added to the heritage that we have of our Filipino artists, who are not just the big names like Luna, Hidalgo, etc. But, there are probably regional or lesser known names that Jack Pilar put up.
The book was another milestone for Jack. It meant a lot to him. I also worked with Jack during the centennial year of the UP College of Fine Arts in 2008. Jack's thorough and incisive scholarship was at the forefront of the centennial year of the college. He framed the history of the college as curator, scholar, and art historian for the centennial exhibition called Heroes Anonymous. The memorable title and the meaningful purpose of the exhibition was to recognize, in his own words, the brilliant struggle of all the pioneers of the early years of the College of Fine Arts known as Escuela de Bellas Artes, and then paying tribute to those who may be famous now and those still awaiting due fair evaluation. His scholarly reference and inspiration for the title of the exhibit would be a mural painting that he knew so well because it was done by Juan Luna. He alone would have thought of comparing the toils and travails of laborers of 19th century Europe to the struggles of teachers who were challenged by the lack of appreciation of the arts in the country and who were not genuinely understood, hence not properly recognized.
Apart from teaching his students, Pilar also opened people's eyes to the world of art through his various books on Filipino artists and art history. One of his best-known works, Juan Luna, the Filipino as Painter, was published in 1980. It has been considered an essential reference on this towering figure in Philippine art. His other art books include Pamana, the Jorge B. Vargas Art Collection, published in 1992. Inspired Calm, the Sober Realism of Domingo A. Celis, published in 1992, and A Harvest of Saints, published in 2005. In collaboration with fellow experts in the art field, he co-authored Limbag Kamay, 400 Years of Philippine Printmaking with Imelda Kahipe Endaya in 1993, and Pioneers of Philippine Art, Luna, Amorsolo, Zobel, with Rodolfo Paras Perez and Emmanuel Torres in 2004. He also lent his expertise to the Cultural Center of the Philippines' iconic reference work, the CCP Encyclopedia of Philippine Art. Pilar was an associate editor on the encyclopedia's fourth volume on Philippine visual arts. His essays and articles appeared in various cultural publications in the Philippines and abroad, such as the magazine Archipelago, Arts of Asia, Orientations, and Zone D.
I was very happy that he was doing all this all these researches into Philippine art history. And I thought that siguro naman meron akong little push in my classes that he was able to get to make him go into these researches. And I think he has this for me, one of his biggest contributions would have been the very first serious book on Juan Luna. Jack has filled in the gaps of the forgotten parts of Philippine art history. He tried to fill in those gaps by bringing out the forgotten artists who are now also starting to be well known. And his spearheading book on Juan Luna was for me, quite valuable.
When Professor Pilar laid bare his knowledge, his trove of research, and the depth of his curatorial strength in this particular exhibit, he was able to instill pride and honor in every single faculty member and every student of the college from that time on. The dedication and commitment of the school's early educators in the giant personages of Fabian de la Rosa, Fernando Amorsolo, Dominador Castañeda, Mariano Apostol, Guillermo Tolentino, to name a few. And their students brought an intense reflection on the roles of the pioneering teachers of the school. It was a priceless anniversary experience for all of us, and Professor Pilar gave that. And so the world indeed is a stage as Shakespeare imagined it, with men and women merely being players with entrances and exits. And in his time, Professor Pilar played many outstanding roles and parts in many acts. The curtain may have come down, but he will live on through his scholarly work, his many books, and through the many students he mentored, and in the hearts of family and friends who are here now to honor and celebrate his life.
Pilar's book on Juan Luna is considered a definitive work on the acclaimed 19th century painter, and he has written about some of the most recognizable names in Philippine art, such as Fernando Amorsolo or Fernando Zobel. But over the course of Pilar's career, he made it his personal advocacy to bring other Filipino artists to light. Artists who, despite their sublime work and mastery in their fields, have not been accorded the same level of recognition and acclaim as their more famous contemporaries. He became known for specializing in lesser-known artists from the 19th and 20th century. These included Jose Honorato Lozano, Justiniano Asuncion, Vicente Villaseñor, Juan Arceo, and Domingo Celis. With the new information he unearthed in his research, the achievements of these artists could be re-evaluated and given new scrutiny. Pilar's book, The Life and Art of Isabelo Tampinco, published by Vibal Foundation in 2014, was a culmination of 10 years of exhaustive research. In his day, Isabelo Tampinco was highly sought after, and he created a distinctly Filipino style of carving that bore his name, Estilo Tampinco. This master sculptor, whose work adorned churches, public edifices, and private homes, has been called the Juan Luna of sculpture. Jack Pilar sought to enrich people's awareness of their cultural heritage by bringing to light Filipino masters like Tampinco, whose groundbreaking work is so often overlooked or overshadowed. As Pilar stated in one interview, there should be a book about all of them.
The art history of the Philippines, so that there are gaps, there are spaces that are blank. And I think he took it upon himself to fill in these blanks, try to find out why they have occurred, and I'm sure he was able to bring out that these forgotten artists have as much value as the very big names.
For Santiago, Albano Pilar had, in his own brave and irrepressible way, brought the identities of Filipinos to Filipinos. He had searched where others had not thought it worthwhile to look. It was through his untiring efforts through his entire untiring efforts, he had almost single-handedly resurrected the reputations of the Asuncions, Vicente Villaseñor, Domingo Celis, and countless more. He had restored Vista Parcial de Angono to its rightful creator, Juan Senson. He had brought neglected provincial painters back to the metropole. He had reacquainted us with the talents of the likes of Paz Paterno and Celadonia Ongpin, who are trailblazers, of which everyone, not just women, can today be proud.
For his tireless work and invaluable contributions to Philippine art history, in 1980, Jack Pilar was a recipient of the 10 Outstanding Young Men Award. He was also honored in 1996 with the Araw ng Maynila Award, Tagapag-alaga ng Sining. At UP, Pilar was the first to be conferred the Purita Calaw Ledesma Professorial Chair for Art History and Criticism, which he held from 1992 to 1993, and again throughout 1999. He was also a holder of the Ignacio Villamor Professorial Chair for Art. As a curator, Pilar served as a consultant for exhibition projects at the Ayala Museum, the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, and the Cultural Center of the Philippines. One exhibition he curated in 2008 was Heroes Anonymous, organized by the UP College of Fine Arts as part of the celebration of its centennial year.
Whenever Jack speaks about a piece of art, a sculpture or a painting that comes from a place of love and devotion. So Jack, thank you so much for impressing upon me that sense of appreciation for art and art history, from where we came from and to where we're headed. Thank you for those insights, and I pray for your repose. May you rest in peace.
In closing, I would like to share with you a musical tribute to Professor Pilar as a teacher and as a mentor, prepared by the UP College of Fine Arts. This is indeed a fitting tribute from the college and from the colleagues and students of Professor Pilar.
Salamat sa ating guro. Ikaw ang naglinaw sa aming kaisipan. Hinimay mo ng unti-unting masalimot na usapin, upang ang mga ito ay maging makabuluhan at kapaki-pakinabang.
Salamat sa ating guro, sa oras na ginugol upang hubugin ang kaugalian. Binantayog mo ang aming antas ng pag-aaral,
pananalita mo ay marahas, matatag at makatarungan. Ang mga bigkasin mo ay aral sa maraming na kaisipan. Binigyan mo kami ng layang pamumuo ng sariling pananaw na siyang bububog sa aming kinabukasan. Dahil sa'yo kami ay namulat at nagkabuhay, tinuruan mo kami ng landas na walang hanggan. Salamat, Panginoon, sa paglikha mo sa kanyan, upang kami ay turuan ng tunay ang tanging landas. Ang mga pananalita mo ay marahas, matatag at makatarungan.
Master artists like Isabelo Tampinco contributed to the worldwide prestige of the Philippines and helped to build a distinctly Filipino artistic identity. And yet, over the decades, many of these artists fell by the wayside in the public consciousness, their works lost and their legacy buried. Over the decades of his career as a professor, a historian, and a canvasser, Jak Pilar helped restore lesser-known artists to the rich canvas of Philippine culture. Like the painters and sculptors who toiled diligently for years and decades, creating great works of art, Jak Pilar strove through his research to help give Filipinos a fuller and more vibrant picture of our heritage. To all the students, colleagues, scholars, and readers who were touched by that legacy, Santiago Albano Jak Pilar will never become a forgotten figure.